What is up, my fellow beat makers and producers? Today we got another video for my newest song coming out, Daydreams. But before we get started, you know what to do. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you can keep up with all my latest videos. Don't forget to follow me on Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff to keep up with all the cool stuff I got going on. All right, let's get started. All right, everyone, let's check this out. This is the song Daydream. So right here we have the Soul Surplus sample that I used. It's just this vibey electric guitar. So basically what I did was added some automation at the beginning, added a little bit of saturation and delay. So kind of check out what happens to this as the song progresses. So a good tip for the intro is usually to apply some kind of automation that kind of makes it feel like either it's going from mono to stereo, or just as you saw in this video, applying that high frequency filter. From there, what I also added to the intro was a little bit of a natural ambience from Cashmere. And of course, we got some rain, StormedJoint. Hey, hey. So another thing I added was this percussion top loop from Cashmere as well. I love adding these on top of my drums just to give it that extra texture. So let's check it out all in context for the intro. So how I usually like to start off my songs is either some kind of sample or some kind of guitar riff that I play, some kind of melody, and then just add like a second melody or counter melody or just some chords over it. In this case, I have just this regular Steinway grand piano, added a little bit of RC20, just have a tiny bit of wobble, a little bit of distortion, the 2-pair distortion, and some space, which is just reverb. So basically the notes that I'm playing over this B minor sample notes, so they're both B minor, but I'm going from a B minor with this added D. So then I play that B minor changes high note, back to the first note, then we're back on this note, which is just an E5, just to an A major, to a D major, down to the C sharp minor. And actually in B minor, the C sharp is diminished. But sometimes to get a little bit of a darker vibe, you'll take a note that's, in this case, diminished or a major chord and flip it to the minor chord. So instead of playing the C sharp, I'll play the C sharp minor. And it kind of gives it that like eerie sound. It's like, oh, makes it really dark. Try it out sometime. Then we just have this E3. Then again, we have 2 F sharps. And then we add that C sharp in there. And then we finish off with that E again. So I'm not an expert at music theory or ear training, but it sounds like that note there at the end might be that C sharp diminished, or maybe they even went with the minor chord themselves. But when that part happens, it just feels really like dark and mysterious. And as you notice in all my songs, I love minor key, very mysterious sounding stuff. So now let's check out the drums that we have here. Let's go to a part that's a little more full. And that's another tip, is like taking some parts out during certain parts of the song just to kind of give it a little bit more dynamics. Here's a kick in the snare, kick in the clap, whatever. Now we have the hi-hats, just about 6 of them. I like to keep it real vibey, real bouncy. Let's hear all that together. So if you notice, as I'm flipping through these channels, I don't really have too much going on. Really, I just have some EQ going on. Maybe I edited some of the filters on the sampler, but really it's just about sound selection and choosing the right sounds that flow with the overall vibe. So the next part I have of the song is the bass. What I did was I took a regular sounding bass and I also layered it with an 808. So as you can see on the regular bass, it's pretty simple, just overdrive compression. And I've removed everything up to about 165, around 200. And here's the first bass sound. I'm going to go ahead and play the 808 and the regular bass at the same time so you can get a feel for it. This is just a sub by itself. You might not be able to hear it unless you have headphones on. So now we can check that in context with the sample, the piano, the ambience, and the drums. You know I had to add that. And you can check out here in the 808, another important thing is to remove all the highs. You don't want the lows to be overcrowded if you keep all the low frequencies in both the basses. So here's everything we got so far, minus the vocal sample that I'll show you in a second. So next we have my favorite part in probably all of my songs, the vocals, the vocal chops. I just love it all. It just sounds really awesome. For this vocal, you can see I pretty much kept it simple, cut out some of the lows and remove some of the frequencies that I really didn't like. I have the Pultec here. I'm just boosting the high frequencies a little bit. So as you notice, I already boosted it, added a little bit of this to give it a little bit of different color. And then I also added the soft tube saturation. This sample was a little bit dull, so it really needed to be brightened up a little bit. So that's why I kind of added all these plugins.
Stay with me, don't let go, we're so close.
Almost forgot the most important part. I added some Nicky Romero's kickstart. So basically, I didn't do typical side chaining. I kind of side chained it afterward. So it's kind of has the volume here. Then this is when the side chaining happens. And I got it about 56% mixed in.
Stay with me, don't let go, we're so close to returning home. Follow me.
Then the next thing I added was this other little vocal chop. I have some EQ applied here, and I added some OTT just to kind of bring it out a little bit. So let's hear those two together.
To returning home. Follow me.
Let's also check out these vocal samples that I have here in the intro. This again was a pretty good sample, kind of fit where I want it, so I just added some EQ. So now let's go listen to that all in context. So this is pretty much my favorite part. This is when the vocals are introduced. As you can see here, I have the vocals, and then at the end, I kind of just cut everything out so you can really focus on the vocals. And then we come in with the simple full drums, whole shebang. Check it out.
Stay with me, don't let go, we're so close to returning
Then the next thing I add here is another vocal sample, EQing and OTT, sending it to a few buses where I have some reverb and compressor. Let's listen to all that in context. Then for this next portion of the song, I cut out the sample, I cut out the piano I played. This is just straight drums, straight bass, and a beautiful vocal sample. Check this out. If you look at the sample, again, EQ, OTT. Didn't need anything else. Then here are these two samples together. Then that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the whole song. One thing I wanted to show is ending a song. You don't want to just fade it away, or I mean, sometimes you could fade it away. Maybe that might work, but sometimes you want to make it feel like the song's over. You want to resolve the song. So what I have here is this last little bit where at the very end, I just resolved to this B minor at 11. It would be B minor. This would still be B minor. Adding that E is what makes it an 11. So it just gives it that cool vibe. Check it out. Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that feel resolved? It's like after all that, it's like, So when I was making that, I was kind of thinking like, okay, I'm in this daydream. There's all these vocals, these reverse vocals, all this crazy stuff happening. And at the end, it's like the end of the dream. It's like, and it's been resolved. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you like this video style a little bit more, where I'm showing you my DAW instead of kind of going back and forth. If you like the other way, I could also do that. Let me know what you think. Catch you guys next time.